you just kill me?
You don't fear death. You welcome it. Your punishment must be more severe. Yes, but not of your body, of your soul.
Well, it's definitely a pop culture icon, right? I mean, I think because he was a pioneer of many things. He was a martial artist first, so I'm gonna talk about that. And after this fight that happened in the movie, this controversial fight, he developed an idea, developed a philosophy for martial arts. He dubbed Jeet Kune, which changed the landscape of martial arts forever. And that, for us martial artists, is a very important thing. So you would see his posters in martial arts schools because his ideas are revolutionary for every method. And in terms of movies, he was the first Chinese superstar, the worldwide super, and he still is today. He's a popular culture icon. I mean, you see his image or homages to him in anything from video games to comic books to, you know, this movie. So, and I think it has to do with the fact that he's a kung fu actor and he was a pioneer. Even today, the films get exported from Hong Kong that do the best, or Asia, is martial arts films because I believe, and I'm not the only one that believes this, is the physical language, body language, can be understood anywhere. So, and he was the first one to do this. And he did it in such a way where it's so impactful and so explosive, he burned himself into the minds of culture and everyone around the world.
You've lost me.
I have. So what I'm saying, actually, you see, I mean, it's a combination of both. I mean, here it is the natural instinct, and here is control. You are to combine the two in harmony. Not, if you have one to the extreme, you will be very unscientific. If you have another to the extreme, you become all of a sudden a mechanical man, no longer a human being. So it is a successful combination of both. So therefore, it is not only, so therefore it's not pure naturalness or unnaturalness. The ideal is unnatural naturalness or natural unnaturalness.
Yin yang, eh?
Right, man, that's it.
In terms of physicality and martial arts, I'm very practiced in that. I'm not bragging, but I've been doing this for 15 years, and I myself am an action choreographer, martial arts choreographer and a martial arts director in Hong Kong. I've done a lot of films, and speeding up and slowing down, it's a technique that we all have to do. Sometimes you have to adjust for the camera speed and also adjust for certain angles. And like you said, sometimes you're not really hitting the person. You're using stacking, using camera angles to look like you're hitting the person. So adjusting for the camera is very important. And sometimes, but it gets embellished. And but I do believe sometimes you do have to slow down because cameras back then was different than they are now. And Bruce Lee was incredibly fast. And if you're too fast, the spots between the frames won't catch his movement.
Bruce Lee faces a real dilemma. He's on the verge of stardom in the United States with a projected TV series on the horizon, but he's just achieved superstardom is a film actor here in Hong Kong. So what does he choose, the East or the West? It's the kind of problem most budding movie actors would welcome.
The newest Mandarin superstar, known in the West for his appearances in Batman, The Green Hornet, Ironside, and Longstreet. His name is Bruce Lee, and he doesn't even speak Mandarin. And here's Pierre.
Well, how can you play in Mandarin movies if you don't even speak Mandarin? How do you do that?
Well, first of all, I speak only Cantonese.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there is quite a difference as far as pronunciation and things like that go.
So somebody else's voice is used, right? For
Definitely,
you?
definitely.
You just make the words. Doesn't that sound strange when you go to the movies, especially in Hong Kong, in your own town, and you see yourself with somebody else's voice?
Well, not really, you see, because most of the Mandarin pictures done here are dubbed anyway.
They're dubbed anyway?
Anyway. I mean, disregard. I mean, they shoot without sound. So it doesn't, you know, make any difference.
Your lips never quite make the right words, do they?
Yeah, well, that's where the difficulty lies, you see. I mean, in order to, because the Cantonese have a different way of saying things, you know, I mean, different from the Mandarin.
Yeah.
So I have to find, like, something similar to that and keep a kind of a feeling going behind that. Something that matching the Mandarin deal.
Like the old silent days.
Complicated?
Like the old silent days. But I gather in the movies made here, the dialogue is pretty stilted anyway.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, see, to me, a motion picture is motion.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta keep the dialogue down to the minimum.
They say the secret of your success in that movie, The Big Boss, which was such a success here and rocketed you to stardom in Asia, was that you did your own fighting. As an expert in the various martial arts in China, what did you think of the fighting that you saw in the movies that you studied before you became a star?
Well, I mean, definitely in the beginning, I had no intention or whatsoever that what I was practicing and what I'm still practicing now would lead to this to begin with. But martial art has a very, very deep meaning as far as my life is concerned, because as an actor, as a martial artist, as a human being, all these I have learned from martial art.
Maybe for our audience who doesn't know what it means, you might explain exactly what you mean by martial art.
Right. Martial art include all the combative arts like karate or karate, judo, Chinese kung fu or Chinese boxing, whatever you call it. All those. You see, like Aikido, Korean, I can go on and on and on. But it's a combative form of fighting. I mean, it's not, some of them became sport, but some of them are still not. I mean, they use, for instance, kicking to the groin, jabbing fingers at the eyes and things like that.
No wonder you're successful in the Chinese movies are full of this kind of action anyway. They needed a guy like you could...
Violence, man.
So you didn't have to use a double when you moved into the motion picture world here. You did it all yourself. Right. Can you break 5 or 6 pieces of wood with your hand or your foot?
I'll probably break my hand and foot.
Or don't hit back.
Can you explain to me the 1-inch punch? Because I don't understand it physically, because is the power coming from
the whole body?
From the hip? Where's it coming from?
It's coming from the whole body. We call it tassing, seven points of power. It starts from your ankle, knees, hip, shoulder, elbow, hand to the impact. And it's a Wing Chun technique. We call it a Chang Q, Da Fa. What that means is a long range technique. It seems like a short range technique, right? Basically, what happens in a fight, if I extend my hand all the way, to gain power again, I have to bring this back and punch this out, right? But as I bring this back, it gives opportunity for another person to strike you back. And Wing Chun has a method to develop power or create a powerful impact in a very short distance. And it's basically, if I extend my hand all the way and you slip, your head slips to the side, from here I'll hit you. And may not knock you out, but it will hurt you enough for me to continue my attack. And Bruce Lee is very smart, and he used this idea, he demonstrated this idea and dubbed the movement the inch punch, which makes it legendary. It becomes a technique in its own, but it's basically it's a method within Wing Chun Kung Fu when your hand is completely extended, how to generate power and still strike your opponent without bringing your hand back and giving him room to punch you.